I will assume that the protocols have been observed rightfully. Let me just encapsulate it by saying, distinguished sponsors, representatives of the various football bodies in Trinidad and Tobago, and our principal host, the president of the Secondary Schools Football League, Mr. Anthony Creed, and his executive, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Today we celebrate the most resolutely committed, note I didn't say the most resolutely talented because sometimes that alone does not work, but the most resolutely committed young footballers, male and female, in Trinidad and Tobago, who have been the successful ones at the end of the season. We will honor you all today, teams and individuals, for your outstanding work. And let me also say at the outset that for me personally, this is a considerable privilege to be here and to just introduce a simple task, but one that does knit the program together, to introduce a sequence of speakers and, of course, to direct you to the recipients of the various awards when that does start to happen. Our first speaker today is your president. He is the consummate all-rounder, teacher, and I believe he had a hand in shaping the phys ed CXC curriculum some time ago. He's also been a coach. He has been for a long time a cricket umpire, and he loves to claim that he is the one umpire with the least amount of dubious decisions in the game. He's a football referee, and of course, these days, he is a veritable safety valve for sporting organizations in Trinidad and Tobago, through his work as manager, as one of the senior managers at the Sports Company of Trinidad and Tobago, who presides over the funding, and that's why I said safety valve, of national sporting associations. I think Mr. William Wallace, your vice president, will testify to that. I think he's at your door 2 or 3 times a week now, Mr. Creed. So, a man who is an all-rounder and very well suited to the position, since he understands the culture that is sport in Trinidad and Tobago, to be the president of the Secondary Schools Football League. Please welcome Mr. Anthony Creed.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much, Mr. Harford, for that introduction. Mr. Wendell Constantine, Representative Beachy, Trinidad and Tobago Limited, and his guest, Mr. Nualo of Coca-Cola Limited, and his guest, Mr. Cooper from First Citizens Bank, Mr. Alexander Smith of the Sport Company of Trinidad and Tobago, members of the executive of the Secondary Schools Football League, teachers, coaches, guests of the Secondary School Football League, of course, you wonderful, talented young men and women who have represented your schools during the 2014 season. Parents, members of the media, Mr. Dexter Skeen, CEO of the Pro League, ladies and gentlemen. My task is bringing an address on behalf of the Secondary School Football League. I will start with a quote from the President of the United States of America, Mr. Barack Obama. He once said, quote, "Change doesn't come from Washington. Change comes to Washington." End of quote. Permit me to use that quote to say, change doesn't come from the SSFL. Change comes to the SSFL. End of quote. I have been privileged this 2014 season to have led an executive team that was given a mandate by the membership of the Secondary Schools Football League to implement two crucial changes at the top level of the boys' competition. For the past 6 years, two schools, one in the north and one in the south, have been advocating change at the top echelon of the Secondary Schools Football League. This discourse evoked discussions on issues which accentuated transport costs, quality of football, and elitism. However, the membership did not acquiesce to that change until 2013. The members of the SSFL voted to change the league structure of the boys under 20 from a two-tier to a three-tier system involving the Premier, Championship, and Senior Division. In addition, to change the intercal or knockout to a FA format, which involved all of the schools at the under 20 level. This first change was the introduction of the Premier Division with the top 14 football schools in Trinidad. The Tobago Zone decided to hold and observe while they worked out the logistics of a winning school having to come to Trinidad a minimum of 7 occasions in 6 weeks. After the competition of the BGT&T First Citizens Premier League, I received complimentary feedback from some spectators and supporters, some of the media, some principals, teachers and coaches from both within and outside the league, and even passionate football observers. There were some people who were extremely apprehensive before the start of this season, who approached me at the end of the season and showered the SSFL with kudos. All in all, the positives definitely outweigh the negatives as we wait to find out how the Tobago Zone will vote at the next meeting. The second change was to conduct the Coca-Cola Boys Intercall using an FA format involving Premier, Championship, and Senior Division schools. Again, the compliments are still coming in from folks across Trinidad and Tobago. After the season, a journalist asked me about my feelings about the changes in the 2014 season. I indicated to him that it was excellent and interesting. As I ponder on what transpired, a school which is facing demotion in 2015 won the North Zone Intercall by beating St. Anthony's College, who placed second in the league, in the semi-final phase of the knockout. And then St. Mary's, who placed seventh in the league, in the final to capture the North Zone title. That saga did not end there, as their school seemed to have peaked late while they went on to beat Speyside High, the Tobago champion, in the national semi-final, and St. Benedict's College in the national intercall final. Don't you find that this certainly sounds like a Cinderella story? Lovers of football are bemused and amused, but definitely ecstatic about the format of the 2014 knockout competition. Special congratulations must be extended to East Mucurapo Secondary. Give them a round of applause. Winston Churchill once said, and I quote, "There is nothing wrong with change if it is in the right direction," unquote. I am convinced that the executive and membership of the Secondary Schools Football League are doing all in its power to move the league in the right direction. Over the years, in football, the pundits have exposed that some schools have dominated for periods. As in the girls' division, DB Secondary once ruled for a period. Now, certainly, this period belongs to St. Augustine Secondary. This school has done the double. The girls' division is without doubt the nursery of our national female soccer warriors. A simple analysis will indicate that 85% of those women completed their development in the SSFL. This tells me something good is happening for football development for our young ladies. It would be remiss of me if I did not compliment the national senior female footballers who did our country proud in the qualifiers of the World Cup of 2015. Thank you very much. The membership of the league certainly enjoyed your play. You have lit the fire for the young ladies in our league who are eager to join some of, if not all of you, in the campaign for 2019. Let us give them a round of applause. At this time, permit me to thank all those who contributed significantly to the Secondary Schools Football League. Special mention must be made of BGTNT Limited and First Citizens Bank, the sponsor of a number of our competition. Let us hear it for them. They contributed almost $500,000 to ensure that the Boys League, the Girls League, and the Girls Intercall were certainly on a good footing. This league says, muchísimas gracias. Our other sponsor is Coca-Cola Limited. They ensured that the intricacies of the Boys Intercall was the talk of the town. The league is certainly grateful for your offering to our present and future national footballers. Let's hear it for Coca-Cola. To the media, both electronic and print, who assured that the TNT populace, as well as the Caribbean people, were aware of the league, what the league had to showcase, the young talent from 112 schools that participated. Thank you very much. Now I have to thank the members of my executive and the membership for their support. Especially this was my first term as president. And I indicated to them that I intend to remain for one term. But I don't know. They are trying to influence me otherwise. But let them know, uneasy the hair that wears the crown. Everybody wants to lead, everybody wants to be at the top. Just remember, when we meet again, our job is to ascertain how we could improve the development of football in our schools. To the principals, members of staff and coaches of the school, thank you for giving young men and women the opportunities that can shape their lives. I'm confident that the next Meili Aten Johnson and Kevin Molino are in our schools. I am convinced. At this time, permit me to say special thanks to the Honorable Minister of Sport, Dr. Rupert Griffith, who invited our school female teams to the Ecuador match. 31 of the 48 schools accepted and attended the game. Thank you very much. Thanks go out to our referees who officiated in the past season. Nonetheless, the administrators have to work on getting all qualified referees to contribute. Another year has elapsed with around 25% of matches short of official. We have to sit and have some discussions. Now, you young men and women, footballers. Gareth Bale, you know that name? Know the name Gareth Bale? All right. Let me give you a quote. He said, as a kid, you obviously dream of being a professional footballer. I would watch players like Ronaldo of Brazil and pretend to be him in the playground. But I don't think about trying to become the best in the world or anything like that. I just play football. Unquote. Now I say to you, just continue to play football and allow opportunities to open up to you, whether it's scholarship, professionalism, coaching, administration. Football needs contribution from all sectors. And statistics would show that only 1 or maybe 2% of you all will be involved in professional football. That is statistics. So there are other areas for you to contribute. In closing, I would like to quote from another footballer, David Beckham. And I quote, I just want people to see me as a hard-working footballer and someone who is passionate about the game, unquote. Then I say to you young men and women, continue to play and be hard-working and passionate about your game. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Creed, for your vigorously effective message, and as always, delivered articulately. And those of you who don't know him would have felt through his message. And of course, I, having worked around him for a long, long time, can tell you that he has this almost messianic desire to make sport work in Trinidad and Tobago. Thank you very much again, Mr. Creed. At this time, we have messages to be brought by our sponsors' representatives who are with us this morning, and we thank and celebrate all of you for taking the time from what I'm sure are very busy schedules to be here. That, of course, sends an excellent message to the youngsters. The Sport Company of Trinidad and Tobago has been standing alongside football at all levels in Trinidad and Tobago since its inception, and we thank them for their continued strong and vigorous support. The Sport Company is represented this morning by the Manager of Training and Development, Mr. Alexander Smith. We now invite him to the podium.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Anthony Creed, President of the Secondary Schools Football League, other distinguished sponsors, other distinguished guests, school supervisors in our midst, principals, teachers, coaches, student footballers, parents, students, well-wishers, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed an honor to bring greetings from the Sports Company of Trinidad and Tobago, an organization that was established for, among other things, supporting sport development and performance in Trinidad and Tobago. I'd like to congratulate at this time the executive of the Secondary Schools Football League, congratulate them for a tremendous season. I'd like to also congratulate them for putting themselves out on a limb, for not being stagnant, for taking a chance, for being dynamic, for contributing to positive change. I speak, of course, about the introduction this year of the Premier League and also the FA-style knockout competition. You have seen that it has been a tremendous success, and what this has done is it has expanded the game. It has given these student footballers other opportunities to hone their skills and opportunities for exposure. And this is what good sport administration is about. I would also like to commend the student footballers, both male and female, for the way they conducted themselves throughout the season. There were less incidents of a negative nature off the field concerning football than there have been maybe at some previous years. And for this, you must be commended, and you deserve a round of applause. Now, you must remember, young ones, that activities such as these are planned by responsible adults who understand the meaning of sport development through youth. When you are involved in activities like these, there are certain virtues that come to you. For example, in order to be involved in a competition of this nature, you have to commit yourselves to training. When you are training, you have to get there on time, you have to obey coaches. When you are involved in the game itself, you are governed by particular rules to which you must comply. You are involved with other members of the team. You have common goals, and you have positive desired outcomes. And these virtues you take with you, firstly to the classroom, to the school, to the communities in which you live. It's called transfer of learning, a very powerful exercise. You become positive citizens, citizens who contribute to your nation and to the world at large. Now, if you think, ladies and gentlemen, that 2014 was a tremendous year, I'd like to tell you, first of all, that the sports company remains committed to the Secondary Schools Football League, and we will continue to assist in 2015. But also, I'd like to inform you that all indicators show that if you think 2014 was unsurpassed, that better cannot happen, the indicators show that 2015 would be awesome. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Alexander Smith. And if you saw me sort of looking all around, it's the most amazing things happen when you're hosting an event. You take notes on a little piece of paper, and then you can't find it just at the time you need it. Fortunately, I have interacted with our next speaker for a long time. He did give me his official designation. I think I remember it. He is the Senior Marketing Manager and Head of Key Accounts at a company that has displayed over the years colossal civic energy. They've been involved in everything sport for a long, long time, and I think they're one of the longest standing partners of schools football in Trinidad and Tobago, among other forms of football. Please welcome Ms. Marlon Nualo, who is here representing the Coca-Cola Company this morning. I also acknowledge the presence of Laura Pitts, who is also representing Coca-Cola, and with us today it is Mr. Nualo who will bring greetings.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Mr. Harford. It gives me great pleasure this morning to stand before you and bring just 3 short messages, if I may permit. One message really is that I want to congratulate the association, the board, and all the partners that came together to get this league off the ground and continue for the successes that has shown, as well as some of the diversity in terms of change to the league and the structure that worked very, very well in 2014. And we really look forward to seeing more change and better alignment, more camaraderie, and all of the things that sport and football in particular bring to the table. The second thing I want to do is also, at this time, give my commitment. We have gone through, I have seen a 5-year contract sponsorship with the SSFL, and we've just signed off again for another 5 years, committing our support and our efforts to the league. So at this time, I just want to ensure that for all that are here today, that know that we are very committed to continuing as well too. Also on the third part, a word has come across a number of times this morning on this podium, which is change. And you know, working for a brand like Coca-Cola, sometimes, most times, people come to me and say, well, you know, why do you have to market Coca-Cola? I mean, it sells itself. It is true, yes, we have a lot of loyal fans and supporters of the brand. But with a brand like that, you also have to be the leader for change. And a lot of times, change is not easy. We have a mandate from our principals in Atlanta to evoke change at a very high level, and change in the form of movement. And some of you may ask, you know, how do we change movement? What you know, I don't understand. And really and truly, our society today is a society that is very electronic. You know, everything is now, and everything is you know, it's in front of us. We want food, we dial a number, or we send a text message, or we send an email. Somehow it gets communicated and it ends up in front of us. We want entertainment, we flick a button and it's right there. We have it at a moment's notice, 24 hours, 7 days a week, every minute of the day. So really that change is within us to experience life in its fullest, not just on social media, or not just through the electronic media, but really through interacting with our peers, with our family, with our friends. And that is the message that Coca-Cola wants to impact on all of us, really to create that change and that drive that keeps us moving. And what a better alignment for change as with football. We see all the positives around it. I mean, I have 3 small kids, and I know it's no easy task to manage and to direct them. So of course I applaud all of you here today, all of the executives, all of the teachers, all of the coaches. I know, although some of you may not say it, some of you may not show it, but at times it can be frustrating, but you guys never give up, and you always see the vision, and it is a testament to, as well, that we are all, in our own ways, motivators. Sometimes we do it deliberately, as well as sometimes, you know, we do it just by chance. We never even know that we have touched someone or communicated with someone in a way that will motivate them and guide them to be all that they can. So I want to encourage all of us as teachers, everyone, even the students as well too, in your classrooms. You know, sometimes we may say something and don't think 2 thoughts of it. That could change someone in a positive way, as well as it can also change someone in a negative way. So we have to be mindful when we think things, that we always ensure that we're able to create a positive change around us as well too. And those are the true leaders. We see them in our classrooms as well too. I mean, a teacher will come up to a student and say, you know, I want you to be a prefect. Not just because he wants to delegate something, or he wants to give somebody extra work, but he has seen something in that person as a leader, and he has just planted that seed in them that can continue to develop, that continue to motivate his peers and his friends to do the right thing and to be their best. Okay? And I think that's all we can expect and hope that everyone here that we communicate with and connect with be their best as well too. So that is the change that we want, and the change that we're driving is through movement. So again, happiness is movement. Keep moving and keep happy. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Marlon. And of course, as happens every time. I found it after he started speaking. And let me acknowledge Lisa Pitts. I did say Laura, my apologies. Laura is Marketing Activations Manager at Coca-Cola as well. Thank you, Marlon, and to you as well, Lisa, for your continued generosity to sport in Trinidad and Tobago, including, of course, this event. Our next speaker, I am told, was a robustly esteemed schoolboy footballer and opted instead for academics, and I think he still does play a bit of the game at a friendlier level. He was quick to remind me as well this morning that not only was he robustly popular, but he was prolific. We'll find out about that. I don't have the stats. He has now, as I said, went into the world of academia and excelled there as well. He is the marketing manager at First Citizens. Please welcome Mr. Damian Cooper.
Pleasant good morning to all. President of Secondary Schools Football League, Mr. Anthony Creed. Vice President, Mr. William Wallace. Secretary, Mr. Azad Khan. Mr. Alexander Smith, Manager Training and Development, Sport TT. Mr. Wendell Constantine, Manager Brand and Communications, that's correct, right? Mr. Marlon Noalo, Senior Manager, Marketing and Key Accounts. Players, coaches, students, teachers, members of the media, specially invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, a pleasant good morning to you. As mentioned by Mr. Harford, I am Damian Cooper, Marketing Manager of First Citizens. I promise to be as brief as possible, as I believe that with all award ceremonies, the focus should be on you. Because today is your day of celebration and recognition. I must admit that when Secretary of SSFL, Mr. Azad Khan, approached First Citizens with a proposed new format for SSFL, I was indeed a bit hesitant. My uncertainty laid in the fact that the format being proposed was one that existed way back when the league was known as Colleges League. For those of you all who are old enough to remember that, right? Some of us were old, and not that old. And there were only a few schools that were considered good enough to participate. After being in existence for a number of years, there was a chorus of opposition that called for a league that was more inclusive and gave more schools an opportunity to be represented on the big stage. So after many years, the format was changed to a zonal format with the respective winners representing their zones in a Big 4, Big 5, or Big 8 tournament, depending on the direction in that particular year. So I was indeed a bit skeptical. However, I must commend the SSFL for their management of the new format, which comprised a premiership and a championship level, as both seem to have been given sufficient attention and visibility to make both leagues worthwhile and worth fighting for. I know that everyone wants to play in the premiership, but there is now another division that provides a yardstick against which your talents can be truly assessed. So the league is over, and we have our first SSFL Premiership Division winners, Naparima College. Let's hear it for Naparima at this point in time, please. Let me say congratulations to your entire team, inclusive of your coaching staff. I believe your head coach is Angus Eve, that's correct? Yeah? Okay. Played against Angus when I was at St. Mary's, and he gave us no end of trouble back in the day, right? So I guess he's back in the fray. But the end of the league signals the start of preparations for another one, and based on conversations with the executive of SSFL, the format that was used for 2014 will again be used in 2015. So it therefore means that it's also time for First Citizens to commence its preparation for our participation in 2015, as Anthony, we once again plan to be involved. In 2014, we implemented some new initiatives whereby all the players who were registered to play on the teams in the Premiership were all given NEO Youth Saving Account certificates along with some of the qualifiers of the Big 8 Championship Division so that they could begin their savings career, which is likely to last much longer than their playing career. Correct, right? This, we believe, is extremely important and an important step in the overall player development, as apart from needing the football skills to compete at football, savvy saving and investment skills are necessary to be successful in the financial world and in the game of life. Next season, we hope to extend our reach to all the teams in the Big 8 Championship and also the girls. We hope to have a special emphasis on the girls, given what our local female so-called warriors were able to accomplish with their extraordinary display of talent, gut, and determination. They have indeed catapulted girls or women's football into a new light, and I think they deserve a round of applause. Let's hear it for them. I take this opportunity to point out, however, that our emphasis on the girls' football is not sudden or new, as First Citizens has been the sponsor of the Girls Intercal and co-sponsors of the Girls League for the past 3 to 4 years. So our emphasis is not a bandwagonist reaction to success, but rather a further investment into something which has now started to reap rewards. First Citizens hopes to continue to be the springboard and support from which many more teams, such as the female Soca Warriors, or Soca Princesses as they are sometimes referred, will be produced. In closing, let me say congratulations to all who participated and contributed towards the success of the 2014 Secondary Schools Football League. And First Citizens looks forward to partnering with the SSFL once again in 2015 as they strive to take football to new heights and continue participating in the development of the lives of the nation's youth. We definitely will be there with you. I thank you.
Thank you, Damien. Our final sponsor representative today has been lavished with talent in, for those of us less talented, we would say in an equal measure. For most of us, when we expel air, it is simply carbon monoxide or dioxide. In his case, it is the most beautiful sound. He's blessed with a brilliant voice. His is one of the most sought-after voices in the country. And in his capacity at BGTT, where, among many other things, he's responsible for corporate social responsibility, he has displayed a most passionate urge to help. We thank you, BGTT, and especially you, Wendell Constantine, and now invite you to say a few words on behalf of the sponsoring company.
Thank you very much, Master of Ceremonies Anthony Harford, the President, Vice President, and members of the Executive of the Secondary Schools Football League, our partner sponsors, First Citizens, other sponsors directly supporting the Secondary Schools Football League, Sport TT, Coca-Cola, the presence of Digicel and others, coaches, teachers, those who chaperone the young talent of our republic, all players and students directly involved in the field of play for the Secondary Schools Football League 2014, other distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning. On behalf of BG Trinidad and Tobago, I wish to take this opportunity to congratulate all of the stars of today, as today is your day to be celebrated, to be acknowledged, and to be given the accolades that you have earned on the field of play. And it's good that there was a time, sort of a cooling down time, between the frenzy of what happened on the respective fields and today, some 2 months later. That timing is important to be able to reflect, acknowledge, and then determine what happens next. For BG Trinidad and Tobago, our partnership with the Secondary Schools Football League has been more than a decade. Last year, we are 25 years present in Trinidad and Tobago, therefore being here since 1989. And as we have done with cricket, we have chosen to ensure that there's a role that we play to develop young persons through sport and through education. So when you hear our name being called as sponsors of Secondary Schools Football League, there's just more to it than what happens on the field of play. With us this morning, present in the audience, is a gentleman who has been committed, along with his team and his staff, to ensure that the winners of secondary schools football are afforded a development program. That is, it's more than just what you do on the field of play, but how you will strive and become outstanding sons and daughters of our country. Mr. Franklin Dolly of Dolly and Associates is with us. He's not a doctor, although something from time to time that he perhaps has all of those qualifications. And he and his team go to the respective teams, coaches, schools, etc., and evaluate, identify, and work with the students and their chaperones to put them one step ahead. What does that mean, really, at the end of the day? Well, after you've done all your training and you've gotten onto the field of play and you've made it to the league and you've participated, etc., if you thought that you could do it on your own, that would be one of the worst mistakes that you could do or that you could have. Just as Mr. Creed acknowledged at the start of his address this morning, there was a call from so many quarters to identify a change to the league. There was no calculated risk with what if, perhaps, maybe, but, perchance. There had to be assessment, reflection on what took place in the past, colleges, football, and then determine what would happen going forward. Yes, there were those who had hesitation. Yes, there were those who may have had a doubt. But something about belief, something about confidence, something about working together resulted in the success that we're all celebrating today, becoming the Premier League that was part of what took place in 2014. Our representative from Sport TT spoke of bigger and better things to come in 2015. Only if we are working together. There is no football team with just one star capturing the ball from the opponent, running down the left side, dodging everyone, going past the goalie, in fact, even intimidating the referee, scoring and running off 4 or 5 times on any match. You try that, and it means that you've left everyone else out of the equation. Similarly, there's no country that can do it on its own, whether as adults and leaders or as young persons. There has to be the collaboration. And what that collaboration takes is acknowledgement that your strength will support my weakness, but my strength will turn your weakness into a cloud that goes away. That partnership and that approach is part of what BG Trinidad and Tobago has focused on over the years. We don't stand alone. We have partnered with First Citizens to ensure the success of what happens in secondary schools football. There will be other partners along the way. We are happy to collaborate and to work with others as a team to ensure your success, your celebration. Therefore, on behalf of the President and the hardworking staff at BG Trinidad and Tobago, I extend congratulations to each of you as stars of the 2014 tournament and encourage you, both in your classwork, your homework, your youth life, and what you do on the field of play, to strive for excellence, achieve success, and maintain the standards of good citizens of our country. I thank you.
We'd like to invite, first of all, the principal of Mucurapo West Secondary. We did hear of the exploits of this school earlier on. The principal is Jervis Laguerre. We'd like to invite Ms. Laguerre to present the first set of awards this morning, which is in the zonal division, starting with the Form 1s. Ms. Laguerre? First award to be presented today in the Form 1 division, the knockout competition. In the East Zone, the champions, Arima North Secondary. Congratulations to Arima North Secondary, Form 1 division, knockout East. Form 1 division, knockout North Zone, and we heard of their gallant efforts earlier on. Mucurapo West Secondary, Ms. Legay, you'll be presenting to your own children, or your charges. North Zone winners, Mucurapo West Secondary, Form 1 division. We're staying with Form 1s. Now for the league competition. In the East, the winners, Trinity College East. Congratulations to Trinity College East. Now we're celebrating the performances of North Zone Form 1 in the league and the champions East Mucurapo Secondary. Well done to Mucurapo East. League champions Form 1 South Zone La Romaine Secondary. Congratulations to all our Form 1 champions. Let me just quickly recap. Knockout East Zone, Arima North Secondary, North Zone, Mucurapo West, Form 1 League, Trinity College East, winners of East, East Mucurapo, winners of North Zone, and you just witnessed the presentation to La Romaine Secondary, winners of the South Zone, our Form 1 champions, ladies and gentlemen. Now we migrate to the Giants Division, under 14 boys, starting with the knockout competition. East Zone Giants Division, winners, Trinity College East. And in the Giants Division, North Zone champions, I understand there was a tie, Fatima College, St. Mary's College. Fatima and St. Mary's, Giants champions, North Zone. I imagine this to be, Mr. Creed, tied on points, tied on wins, same goal difference, tied at all levels, St. Mary's and Fatima. Giants League Central Zone, Chaguanas North Secondary champions. Take a look at these two guys, both playing on the same team. East Zone champions, Giants. Surprise, surprise, Trinity College East again. Champions in the North Zone Giants Division League, St. Mary's College. Well done to the Saints. And the South Zone League Giants champions, Shiva Boys. Congratulations to Shiva Boys, St. Mary's College, Trinity College, and Chaguanas North Secondary, league winners in the respective zones. Mrs. Legaya, thank you so much for helping us with those presentations. We'd now like to invite Ms. Linda Francis, Principal, St. Augustine Secondary, to present the next set of awards. Ms. Francis will present awards, girls under 15 initially, knockout, And the North Zone knockout champions, Diego Martin Central, girls under 15. Well done to Diego Martin Central, North Zone winners, girls under 15. And winners in the East Zone, girls under 15, St. Augustine Secondary. You have every reason to be exuberant, Miss Francis. Your girls. Now for the league winners, and we might as well call them back. East Zone League winners, girls under 15. Again, St. Augustine Secondary. Winners in the North Zone, girls under 15, proving their versatility, outstanding academic school as well, St. Augustine Convent, Port of Spain. Sorry, St. Joseph Convent, I keep saying St. Joseph Convent. I hope that quick correction, Ms. Francis, is not an admission that it's not an academic school you're principal of. St. Joseph Convent. Well done. My apologies. And the champions in the South Zone we have to especially celebrate because they left home this morning while many of us were still asleep. Champions in the South Zone, Cedrus Secondary. Well done to Cedrus Secondary, champions girls under 15. And Ms. Francis, thank you so much for helping us with that segment. We now graduate to the junior division under 16 boys and invite Mr. Derek Phillip, Principal, East Mucurapo, to do these presentations for us. Thank you, Mr. Phillip. First presentation in the junior division under 16 boys, East Zone winners, again, St. Augustine Secondary. Winners, North Zone, under 16 boys, Fatima College. Under 16 League, Central Zone winners, Chaguanas North Secondary. Under 16 League winners, East Zone, clearly a superior footballing school in the East, their fourth title to date, Trinity College East, East Zone winners. Under 16 League, North Zone winners, Fatima College. Damien, I'm really trying to be as calm as possible. I really would like to speak of Fatima College as a school full of caliber and so on. But as an old Fatima boy, I'm trying to be. It's getting harder. South Zone winners, Naparima College. Thank you so much, Mr. Phillip, for making those presentations for us in the junior division, under 16 boys. We now move to senior division, starting with the girls, under 20. We'd like to invite Mr. Rudolph Hope, long-standing and serving secretary of the North Zone, who retired, I believe, on the 31st of December. He is with us today. Mr. Hope, we'd like you to present the next set of awards for us, and thank you for your participation. East Zone Girls Under 20 Champions, Five Rivers Secondary. North Zone winners, Girls Under 20, Diego Martin Central. Under 20 Girls League, Central Zone champions, bristling with confidence every time you see them, Miracle Ministries. Champions East Zone Girls Under 20, Five Rivers Secondary. And the North Zone champions, Girls Under 20, clearly a gifted unit, Diego Martin Central. Congratulations to Diego Martin Central, winners of Knockout and winners of North Zone League, and the South Zone champions, Girls Under 20 Division, St. Joseph Convent, San Fernando. Mr. Hope, thank you so much for making those presentations. Now we move to the Under 20 boys. We'd like to invite Mr. Mirere Gonzalez, Chairman of East Zone and a high-level FIFA instructor, to present the titles won, or the trophies, to the title winners, Under 20 boys Senior Division. Under 20 boys Senior Division, East Zone winners, Toko Secondary. Well done to Toko Secondary, winners of East Zone Under 20 Senior Division. And in the League Division, Under 20 boys, Central Zone winners, a place perhaps more famous for diligent cricketers, but of course making a mark for themselves in football as well, Presal Secondary. South Zone winners, Under 20 boys, Maruga Secondary. And thank you very much, Mr. Gonzalez, for making the presentations for us. That brings us to the end of the zonal awards. We congratulate all the schools who picked up awards today. A couple of them weren't here. That's understandable. At this time, we would like to continue with the presentations, distribution of trophies and medals won in the national divisions of secondary schools for 2014. We'd like to invite Mr. Alexander Smith of the Sport Company of Trinidad and Tobago to present the first set of national titles for the under 14s, 15s, 16s, 20 boys and girls. National title, under 14 champions, Trinity College East. Trophies over the height of the player. Well done to Trinity College East, under 14 national champions. Under 15 girls, national champions, St. Augustine Secondary. Well done to St. Augustine Secondary, under 15 national champions girls. Under 16 champions, Naparima College. These are all national titles, remember. Well done to NAPS, winners of the Under-16 national title. Under-20 boys, Toko Secondary. And national Under-20 girls champions, absolutely monstrous performances all year from Diego Martin Central Secondary. Our national champions, ladies and gentlemen, at Under-20 girls, Diego Martin Secondary. Thank you very much, Mr. Smith. And just to quickly recap, our national title holders, Under-14s, Trinity College East, Under-15 girls, St. Augustine Secondary, Under-16s, Naparima College, Under-20 boys, Toko Secondary, and Under-20 girls, Diego Martin Central Secondary. Congratulations to all on winning national titles. We move now to the Championship Division girls, and I'd like to invite Lyndon Rambaran of First Citizens to make these presentations for us. My apologies, Lyndon Balkaran. I said Rambaran. Rechristened by your boy William. Championship Division girls, zonal, East Zone, St. Augustine Secondary. North Zone winners, the Hilarians, Bishop Anstey. And South Zone winners, Point Fortin East Secondary. Well, Point Fortin has finally arrived. Well done to them. And thank you very much, Lyndon, for making those presentations. We'd like to invite Damian Cooper. East Zone champions, St. Augustine Secondary. All right, Damian is here to replace Lyndon. And he presents now to St. Augustine Secondary. South Zone champions, Intercol girls. Played with complete authority throughout the season, Point Fortin East Secondary. And the champions in the North Zone, a school that is over the years a fertile source of talent for national football among the women. North Zone champions, St. Francois girls. And thank you, Damian. Those divisions, of course, sponsored by First Citizens. We now move to Championship Division boys, starting with the zones. I'd like to invite Wendell Constantine to make these presentations. These divisions were all sponsored by BGTT. Central Zone League, Championship Division, Presentation College, Chaguanas. East Zone BGTT Trophy will go to Valencia Secondary. North Zone champions, BGTT Trophy, Championship Division, Queen's Royal College. They've already collected their trophy right after winning the match. So they're receiving their medals today. And well done to QRC. And South Zone Champions, Championship Division, Princestown West Secondary. Now we move to the Big 8 competition. We start with the joint third place winners. We'd like to invite representatives of Princestown West and Trinity College Mocha to receive their awards for finishing third in the Big 8 competition. Could we have representatives of Princestown and Trinity College Mocha, please? I should have mentioned here that we had joint third place, which I did. Second place, runners-up, QRC, the champions in the Big 8 competition sponsored by BGTT Faizabad Secondary. So again, just to eliminate any doubt in your mind, the Big 8 competition, we are not presenting these awards today. Princestown Secondary and Trinity College Mocha were third, QRC runners-up, and the champions Faizabad Secondary. In the girls division, Intercall, sponsored by BGTT as well, Miracle Ministries and St. Francois Girls, third place, Point Fortin East Secondary, the runners-up, and the champions in the Big 8 girls, or the Intercall girls, St. Augustine Secondary. So our congratulations to them. All right, please forgive me. I've just been advised that these trophies are, some of the trophies were not returned by the schools that held them last year. So the trophies were not for keeps. However, we do have the trophy for the Big 8 champions, boys. So we'd like to invite Faizabad Secondary to receive. Faizabad Secondary, Big 8 boys. And we'd like to invite Damian Cooper to join us, since the Big 8 was jointly sponsored by BGTT and First Citizens. Also in the top 5 players of the year from Point Fortin East, Denicia Prince. Top 5 player status has also been accorded this year from Scarborough Secondary, Engineer Charles. From St. Augustine Secondary, Nikita John. And rounding up our list of top 5 players of the year among our girls, from St. Joseph Convent, Port of Spain, Jordan Riken. Thank you so much, Sharon. And now we'd like to invite Damian Cooper and Mr. Anthony Creed, the president of Secondary Schools Football, to present the award to the Player of the Year among the girls in Secondary Schools Football, Trinidad and Tobago. Earlier we mentioned there were 2 goalkeepers, there were 5 defenders named, 6 midfielders, and 4 forwards. Our Player of the Year comes from among that list. That's narrowing it, I suppose. The Player of the Year among the girls in Trinidad and Tobago is a midfielder, St. Augustine Secondary's Curdy Johnson. But well done, our top footballers among the girls, ladies and gentlemen, and especially our MVP, KD Johnson. We'd now like to invite Mr. Dexter Skeen, the CEO of the TT Pro League, to welcome our all-star team among the boys. From St. Benedict's College, Jamari Warwick. From East Mukurapo Secondary, Aaron Enel. And from Trinity College East, Myron Mark, the three goalkeepers. Six defenders were selected in the all-star team. Let's meet them. Naparima College, Nicholas Thomas. St. Mary's College, Raquel Dixon. St. Anthony's College, Simon Joseph. Naparima College, Amrit Girdhari. St. Benedict's College, Terrell Kuto. And Naparima College, Martian Watson. Those are our defenders on the all-star team, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Of course, some of these names we know well, even at national level. They are already representing the country at age group levels. Let's meet our midfielders now. San Juan North Secondary, Josiah Trimmingham.
Happiness is the measure of success. Yeah.
St. Anthony's College, Matthew Wooling, who is representing Trinidad and Tobago and Jamaica at the moment. But we acknowledge Matthew's achievements. Also outside on national duty, I understand his dad is here, so we would like to invite his father as we salute the efforts of Jabari Mitchell, Naparima College. Trinity College East, Adrian Charles. Shiva Boys, Terrell Emmanuel. And St. Benedict's College, Shemar Ravello. Those are our midfielders. The forwards selected on the National All-Star Team, or the Secondary Schools All-Star Team. San Juan North Secondary, Brent Sam. St. Anthony's College, Kwesi Allen. Naparima College, Nicholas Dillon. Trinity College East, Sean Bonval. And St. Mary's College, Ethan Shim. Thank you so much, Dexter. Now we'd like to invite David John Williams, who is our special guest speaker. There is still one person to receive, or two. And David John Williams will now present tokens to the top 5 players of 2014 Secondary Schools All-Star Team. First of the 5, Naparima College, Jabari Mitchell. San Juan North Secondary, Brent Sam.
Look trouble now.
The next two are not with us. Matthew Wooling, who is on national duty. Josiah Trimmingham is also in the top 5. Matthew, of course, St. Anthony's College. And Josiah Trimmingham, San Juan North Secondary.
Look trouble now.
He's here? Trimmingham is here, sorry.
Look trouble now.
And
Look trouble now.
the last of the top 5 from Naparima College, Nicholas Dillon.
Look trouble now. Look trouble now.
Thank you very much, David John Williams. Now, just to name the Player of the Year, we'd like to invite the following gentlemen to make the presentation. Mr. Wendell Constantine of BGTT, Mr. Anthony Creed, President of the Secondary Schools Football League, and we'd like to invite as well Marlon Niwalu of Coca-Cola to present the award to the Player of the Year in Secondary Schools Football.
Look trouble now.
Top man in secondary schools football for 2014. Ladies and gentlemen, Jabari Mitchell, Naparima College.
Look trouble now. Hey.
We'd like to invite the president of the secondary schools, Mr. Creed, to come back. Before our feature address, we just have one very special presentation we'd like to make. And earlier on, the gentleman assisted us with making some presentations. He has been with schools and youth football almost all his life. Initially as a player perhaps, but certainly as an outstanding administrator, as a coordinator, as a zonal secretary for many, many years. He will be missed. I think he has kindly offered that he will continue to lend advice and support where needed. He retired on the 31st of December. Ladies and gentlemen, the former secretary of the North Zone of Secondary School Football and a long-standing servant. We'd like to just present him with what is nothing but a token, because I don't know that we can repay you for your considerable efforts in helping the development of our youth, and in so doing, durably saving and helping lives improve in Trinidad and Tobago. Ladies and gentlemen, it is quite an honor for me, and certainly I'm sure for the Secondary Schools Football League, to today honor in the most tangible way Mr. Randolph Hope, former secretary, Rudolph Hope, former secretary of the North Zone. Well done, Mr. Hope. The feature address. This year, the gentleman has been carefully selected. Amazingly, he is familiar already with many, many of you young footballers. I think he spends an inordinately long time scouting talent, perusing talent, and helping young people. And then eventually they all tend to gravitate or want to gravitate to his club, about his club. This team started, well, he started this as a little fet match side. Am I right? A fet match team. He had a fet match team, I had a fet match team. Mine was in cricket. My side was called RUM, R-U-M, Ridiculously Unfit Men. Mine went nowhere fast. except we toured and had a good time during our holidays. But his went the other way. And Trinidad and Tobago football is all the better for it. In their first year in organized competition and first year in the Pro League, they won 1 trophy and made it to 3 finals. Between then and now, his club has won a total of 37 major titles. They have won 4 Caribbean Championship titles, 5 Pro League titles, and as I said, countless other miscellaneous titles along the way. He is a major and considerable influence in national football. Importantly, he is a man of vision and ideas and will tell you always what can and should be done. And what is good about it is that it is always possible. Ladies and gentlemen, it is our pleasure and privilege to have with us today. He never wants to give me too much information about his life outside of football, so I won't venture into that. But at various other spheres, he's made a significant contribution. That much I can tell. Please welcome the president, the founder, the CEO, and the man who runs W Connection, Mr. David John Williams.
Thank you very much, Tony. I hope I can do justice after that introduction. All protocols observed. Tony, you said I didn't tell you much about my life outside of football, but I'm proud to say that I'm a proud past student of Naparima College. and I'm proud to say that because Naparima College was well represented here today. And the fourth official has indicated it's deep into injury time, and he has put 6 minutes added on time. I don't intend to spend more than that, as said by the fourth official. If you are contemplating getting into football as a professional, you will be coming into and operating in the most popular and most watched professional sport worldwide. It is a professional sport with prestige and wide reach, and is often referred to as the beautiful game. The professional football athlete is just not a professional. Just as becoming a lawyer, engineer, auto mechanic, or accountant all have their unique requirements and special personal attributes, becoming a professional footballer is no different. If you are determined to become a professional footballer, then allow me to share a few tips and strategies with you. Having interacted over the past 15 years with international club managers, trainers, scouts, present and ex-professional football players, I would like to first share with you some of the inescapable pre-qualifying attributes for honing a career in professional football. The most important start is to have a passion for the game. It is this love for the game that will drive you through your quest to become a professional, pushing you through the negative and doubting moments. It must be something that you want to do, not something that is expected of you, or what you feel obliged to do because of someone else's dream. It is your passion, your love for football that will sustain you through the knocks and hard times, of which there will be plenty, to enable you to get back up again and keep trying. Secondly, you must strive to know the game inside out. In other words, you must become a student of the game. Learn the rules of the game and educate yourself on development in the sport. From the start to the end, learn as much about the game as you can. This means learning from books, watching matches, training, watching DVDs, participating in matches, and talking to good soccer players about their tactics and the things that they have found most or least successful as they climb the ranks. having a solid understanding of what famous football players have done to succeed, including, if you like, their signature moves. Commit to playing football through graduated levels and be prepared for hard work and patience. Choose a local club or district team that you can attend regularly and that has a good coach. The best option would be an academy or club known for grooming young players to become professionals. You have to be prepared for hard work and to be patient. Being the best comes at the price of dedicated hard work, but if your single focus is to be a professional soccer player, this hard work is essential. Aiming for the professional level also takes time. Being able to accept that turning professional is a gradual process during which you continue to learn, to build your technical skills, soccer knowledge, and importantly, making good contacts with people. In other words, networking. Be exceptional. Having had the chance to play for a while, it is time to start seriously looking at your skills. Find out what position you innate your skills are best suited to. When working this out, don't just think about yourself, but also think about how your skills feed into your team and how your strengths fit into the game as a whole. Ultimately, it's important that you are really good at what you do because there is a lot of competition and there isn't room for second best. Be in great shape. Your fitness levels matter in football. Work on your fitness by exercising regularly, eating healthy, avoiding substances that can impair your performances, such as alcohol and drugs. Get enough sleep every night. It is also important to learn how to try to stay injury-free. This includes learning how to play well, how to keep in good physical shape, generally through stretching and exercising, so that you do not suffer non-contact injuries. Be aware of what a football scout is looking for. Even though you should already be showing top dedication and excellent performance during games, it is helpful to know what scouts look for when they are scouting for top football talent. After all, they might appear at any time to check out your team. Basically, a scout will watch your entire attitude, not just your ball play, which means that you will be watched for character as much as talent. As such, concentrate on showing your team spirit. A good footballer will learn to be a team player, helping his teammates. Show your ambition. Be competitive without being arrogant or mean-spirited. Show how you can remain calm and focused under pressure. Playing at your best at all times. You never know. These above attributes are necessary wherever in the world you ply your trade. I would like to now turn my attention to the professional football environment, both locally and internationally. There are, of course, some geographical and economic realities you have to understand. The Trinidad and Tobago Professional League is only 15 years old, but I would like to say it has been growing in reputation each year. Clearly, based on sheer numbers of funds and limited financial investment in local clubs, the immediate economic returns will not be the same as if you are a professional in Europe. But remember what I said earlier about graduated levels. The TT Pro League, through the clubs, have been increasingly providing a fertile crop of players to national teams. Almost all present foreign-based players starting their career in the TT Pro League clubs. Example, Kenwin Jones, Kevin Molino, Karim Highland, Jovin Jones, just to name a few. More and more, international football scouts are casting their eyes on local players. And even the clubs themselves are growing in experience and savvy in networking and finding more lucrative opportunities for players. The international exposure opportunities for players are also increasing through tournaments like the CONCACAF Champions League, in which 2 Trinidad clubs have participated almost every year. More recently, also, there is the ongoing, at regional level, to the launch of a Caribbean professional league in the near future. I have therefore tried to base my experience of being the president of a professional football club to outline to you some of the key attributes in pursuing a career in professional football. I have also tried to place an environment context for those considering this career. I would like to close by leaving with 2 additional comments. 1, be realistic. Football is a very competitive sport, with a lot of young people like yourselves wanting to achieve the same professional outcome, yet very few players actually reach the top. Research on the career trajectories of professional football players have found that its career path that remains short-term can be precarious and one of constant transition. However, for the individuals who succeed, it can be extremely rewarding and fulfilling. 2, keep your eyes on the future. While focusing on your career, make sure you also keep an eye on how to further your livelihood and future fulfillment by ensuring a career beyond football. Do this by continuing to balance your academic studies with your football training so that you are ahead in at least one respect should things not turn out as you hope to. Allow me this morning to congratulate the successful school and individual awardees, and may success follow you in whatever is your career chosen path. I thank you.